Now, if you remember, the crowding out problem was if you have the investment savings. So crowding out means if you have deficit, right? Government saving goes down to point A, point B. So basically, this is your R, so R goes up. But more importantly, your investment comes down. So this is called crowding out. Because of this so-called crowding out problem, we say that fiscal policy is not as effective. Because you see, essentially, if you want to correct, if you're in recessionary gap, you want to correct the problem by pumping up more economic activity, everything up. But, whoops, we got a problem because here, your I comes down. So, in other words, sometimes there's a criticism which you need to know that fiscal policy may not be the best policy. So you, as the policy maker, you're like an artist, not like a scientist. Scientist is like, well, yeah, you got all the numbers, but an artist would be like, you have to make decision, like which one is better. So a lot of time we need both. So the goal of keeping the deficit low may reduce the incentive to use fiscal policy to control a recessionary gap because it puts a downward pressure on that ICE or P there. Whereas you expect everything to go up. Okay, so remember that. That's how many of you heard about supply side economics? Nobody? Okay. If you live in the age of Reagan, Ronald Reagan, in the 80s, anybody? Well, I did, not you. Okay, thank you, Robert. If you did, in the 80s, you hear a lot of people say, oh yeah, the Reagans, I remember people will ask me, oh, you're in economics, so what do you think of the supply side economics? Now, the supply side economics that Reagan had back then in the 80s is referring to this scenario here, where you have, so every time we say, well, if you want to increase the PAE, right, that's expansionary fiscal policy. But then they say that you could also increase when you, for example, if you pump up the government expenditure or if you lower taxes, yes, it's considered expansionary fiscal policy. But it also has effects on potential GDP. Now, this is not in the earlier edition of the textbook, but then a lot of economists argue that, when you do government spending, you also affect something like research and development, R&D, human capital, public capital, in a permanent way. So therefore, it also affects your potential GDP. Potential GDP can also rise. Because in the Keynesian model, for the most part, we assume it to be fixed in order for it to be easier for us to work the problem, and then we say we're going to push towards that goal. And what about taxation? Remember, you have to cut tax. And so if you have a tax break for business or consumers, to some extent over a period of time, in the long term effects also, it would also affect your potential GDP. So let's do a quick review before we do that exercise. So remember what we say was, oh yeah, it's very famous, important one. This is your potential GDP. Quick review. If you're here, you have RG, right? If you're to the right, you have EG. So, now, if you're in RG, what are some of the things that you could do to push yourself towards that potential GDP? The balloon of the economy is too small. You have to pump it up. Okay, injection. So, making a balloon of the economy bigger, we have a term for it. What is it? I'm writing it and asking you at the same time. Expansionary fiscal policy. And please, everybody, if you can't get this, you can't do your homework problem and today's problem. What are the two ways? What are the two automatic stabilizers that we use?
Increase government spending.
Oh, this is so good, thank you. Increase government expenditure and
Lower the taxes.
lower the tax. Oh, this guy's are ready. Okay, I'm ready too. Very good. And if you're right here, what happened? Vice versa, right? Spell out what's vice versa. That is too big, the balloon. So you have to make it smaller, contractionary fiscal policy, thank you. And you have to do lower. You don't get this two mixed up. You can't pass this chapter if you get this two mixed up. This is it. This is the most important part. So we call that expansionary fiscal policy, which basically is this. And that is this right there. So on your test on Monday, we'll ask you this over and over in 5 different ways. Same thing, keep asking you the same thing. Although we did talk about, remember we talked about transfer payment? Transfer payment will be the opposite of tax. So in this case, that you want transfer payment to be down, this one to be up. And it has the same indirect effect as tax because of that little c, the marginal propensity to consume, which was 0.8. Remember, it's not 1-for-1 change, it's the fractions of it. Okay. There is one disadvantage of using fiscal policy, other than the one we discussed that was known as crowding out problem. So what is it? There are 2 limits to the fiscal policy. It's not so flexible. What do you mean? Well, anytime that if you want to increase the tax, I hope not, or lower the tax, it's not direct. You have to go through the political process. You have to go to Congress, you have to debate and all that, right? And a lot of time after the bill has been passed, it is like 18 months later because of this political process. So we call that time lag, legislative process. It's competing political objectives. So sometimes the 2 parties are fighting, and saying, no, we don't agree, and then delay for another 6 months or so. So automatic stabilizer help to offset the inflexibility of fiscal policy. We talked about that before. Remember we have this, the chapter about Social Security, how you could index into Social Security built in so that if there's a recession, then boom, it automatically adjusts it and people will not have to suffer. You get it right away. When you get your Social Security paycheck, it will be adjusted up because of indexing. Whereas if you don't have that in place, you have to go to political process, 16 months or 18 months later, you get your paycheck, which is higher, but whoops, you overshoot, meaning that economy was already adjusted 6 months ago, so you are too late. Okay, so that, okay, but however, this is one good thing about using fiscal policy to correct or eliminate your output gap, that it is useful to address prolonged periods of recession. So if the recession is very long, yes, it is effective to use fiscal policy. But if it is very short, like 6 months, 9 months, it is faster to use the other policy, which is the next chapter, what we call monetary policy. Use the interest rate. Interest rate is a little bit faster. Because, hey, government spending, how long does it take to build a bridge, a hospital, a prison? It's not going to be overnight. It's going to be a while, right? I was told you could build a house in 4 months in this country. Is that true? Really? Yeah. Do you attest to that?
A house?
Yeah. Okay, small house.
No, they're putting up suburbs in
Like in a week, you can build a house.
South Carolina.
Oh, shorter than that? Is what you're saying? Okay.
They're getting paid.
Where I grew up, the country where I came from, Malaysia, Singapore area, it takes forever. Yeah, at least a year.
That's the economic situation down in South Carolina. So the people are getting together to build back their homes, and they do 1 house a week.
Is that right?
It's called
Okay,
8 Days of Hope.
I think they have to, I think in that situation, they
It's
have to
probably
speed
different
up,
than
yeah,
what we're talking
right. But that is still amazing to think about, I was thinking the house is already built. All you have to do is just move it, this portable house. That's easy, already built in the factory. We're coming, yeah, boom, here's your house. Whoa. How did it happen? We built it in the factory and we ship it today. by 10 o'clock tonight, you can be living in that house and take shower in it. Whoa, that's nice. Yeah, okay. Okay, so because of that, okay, so automatic stabilizers is provision in the law that imply that automatic increase in government spending or decrease in tax. So expansionary fiscal policy. So that's what it referred to. And then I mentioned this already, due to inflexibility of fiscal policy in modern economies, aggregate spending, it's usually stabilized through monetary policy. This is on your test. What did I say?
Nope.
I forgot. All right, so this is your problem. So let's see, how many students
What slide
we
is
have.
that on? 47?
It's like,
What, you wanna see it one more time?
Well, you said it was on the test. I don't know what slide it's on.
What? This one?
Slide
Yes.
45.
45.
45. Oh, you were asking for the number. Yeah, there's no 47. Yeah, this is the last one. Okay, let's see how many we have back there. So let's get to for partnership. Okay. You two sit so close together. So you want to be natural partner over there? You two? And Sean, how about you work with, oh gosh, you two sit so close, why don't you, how about three of you? Back her, well, her as well, okay? How about you three back there? Is that okay? Get three, yeah. And you two, MC and Connor? Okay, you three. Mr. Ross, you keep looking, I'm pointing at you, yeah, three of you together. Okay, how about back here, we got so many here. Okay, how about you two? Yeah, you could add to them. Is that okay? Three of you? Is that okay if I break you up? Like, ask you to partner with two back there, or you want to be with them? You have the choice, yeah. You know? Well, if it helps you to wake up a little bit, how about? I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it. Okay, all right, three of you together first, and two of you back there, okay? So let's work on this problem. Let's work on this problem together.
Ain't gonna drop them.
I'm gonna walk around and check, and then I'm going to assign you to come to the board and present certain parts, okay? Because that's how we learn. I should go tell them, don't take this session.
I don't think she's gonna take it.
I didn't say it should be filmed in.
Like, what if you're